do you have any questions?
Nope. I should be good for now.
Should be good.
Yep.
No, it's my turn to ask the questions, man.
I
You
know.
had your chance.
I had my one chance.
You had your one chance, dude, and you failed. That's a great way to start the podcast, because that's how we'll rock in, okay? So, hello everyone, welcome to the Gerard Podcast. I'm your host Ross Baxter, and today is episode 85 of this series. Today on the show, we've got an incredible guest for you. We've got a good friend as well. We've got Gerard Lavery on the show. How's it going, dude? Pleasure to have you, man.
All good, man. Good to be on the show at last. Get a chance to shine.
The fame is yours. The spotlight's yours, dude.
A nice, nice number. 85.
I know, 85. Can't go wrong. Good, solid number. You're sorted. It's just crazy. It's like I was saying to you before. It's like there's so much. Like I say it every time. Like I keep forgetting like how many podcasts I'm doing. It's so great though, because you learn so much from different people about their backgrounds. You name it. It's so nice.
Yeah, you've had some pretty big people, I should say, in terms of like the art community, games art anyway.
Yeah.
I've seen that one with Joshua Lynch.
Oh, it's such an honor talking
cool.
to him. I was just geeking out.
He's a pretty cool guy. I've seen all of his mentor and stuff. Looks pretty sweet.
Yeah, he's so relaxed to talk to. It's so nice.
Yeah, it's a good way just to get to know people. It's I feel like everyone's doing podcasts these days, so
yeah.
I feel like people are very open to doing it. It's because they want to get their not exactly they want to get their name out there. They just want to talk about things that they're interested in. And
yeah,
it's a good way to do that. It's a nice and relaxed environment.
Of course, like that's the thing. Like I was saying to Jared at the start of the before the podcast went live. So both of us are like massive fans of Marvel. So guys, prepare yourselves for the most epic 500 seconds section of the podcast ever. Because this is like my first ever guest. I could just go, right, we're just geeking out, full question mode just about Marvel. It's going to be brilliant.
I hope I'm good enough to answer your questions, to be honest.
Oh, the pressure's on, man. That's okay, dude. It's super chill. As long as you just keep saying that Batman is awesome, we're fine. That's okay, because we're both in the same path there. That's where our friendship is so strong on that side of things. You know what I mean?
Well, you say Marvel and you mentioned Batman. But
sorry. Yeah, I know. Yeah, sorry, DC. Don't attack me. We'll talk about DC too. Okay, calm down. Right. So, as always, folks, we're going to be diving into like three main topics today, because I think it's really cool having Jared coming on the show, because he's done so many great artwork, and one of my personal favourites of his is actually a horror theme. So we're going to be diving into horror today. We're also going to be talking about his journey as an artist, and then, as usual, diving in with the questions at the end. But first things first, mate, good old introduction. Just tell us a wee bit about yourself.
So I guess my name's Gerard. I'm currently living in Dundee, Scotland at the moment. Right at the ripe old age of 26.
Wait, nailed it.
But I guess where I started would be from. I guess when I was probably about 14 or 15, I said to myself, I really want to do game design. But I didn't really know what that meant at the time.
Mm-hmm.
It was just I want to do game design because I really liked playing World of Warcraft.
Oh, nice.
I was like, so I was like, I really want to do game design. But to me, being a game designer was just being like a GM, like a game manager at working Blizzard or something. But I didn't really know anything, So it was always sort of in the back of my head to do stuff like that. But I remember in like fourth year or fifth year when we were doing, I guess it's the equivalent of you guys doing your standard exams in Scotland. Yeah. The physics teacher. Our physics teacher asked us, like, what do you want to do when you're older type thing. I was like, I really want to do game design. But again, not really knowing what it was. I just liked video games.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, you probably wouldn't be able to do that because you're not really good at physics. And I was like,
what?
Yeah, I was like, that's a bit harsh. Because I wasn't really that good at physics. But, later on down the line, and I realized that she probably thought that I meant, programming or, graphics, just like actual graphic programming or stuff like that,
Yeah, of course.
But there's a lot of physics. Physics-based programming type thing. But yeah, so her ignorance sort of put me off it. I didn't really think about it for a while. I was, I guess, after it would be the Scottish equivalent of hires, I guess, like sixth year, 17 or 18 age. I was sort of like, I was studying like biology and history type thing, but I didn't really enjoy it. Wasn't really studying or anything like that, but the school asked me to repeat my sixth year And at that point, I was like, I don't really want to be here anymore. This isn't really for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I found there's a college course in Belfast called Creative Media Development or Creative Media Production, and it was like the game development part of it. And
Nice.
I just applied for that, and I got in just like a few weeks before the course started.
Oh, dude, that was the same as me. I'll let you continue.
So it was like, so by the time I applied, I had already started back school in repeating the year,
Mm-hmm.
and I just said to them like, I'm leaving. By the way, I'm not. I'm just going to college to do what I want to do, type thing.
Yeah.
Pardon me. And only like two of the teachers that who taught me even said goodbye to me. They're just like,
What?
like,
Really? Oh
yeah,
my
they didn't
gosh,
even
right?
care. Yeah, so two of the teachers were just like, oh well, no, good luck. I hope you do well, sort of
Yeah.
thing. So I was always really fond of those guys because they actually cared about what I was going to do.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, that was a BTEC level 3.
Mm-hmm.
So it was equivalent of doing like 3 A levels.
Yeah, yeah. That's where it all kicked off.
Yeah, that's where it all kicked off. It was sort of like a general course. You did a bit of everything. You did like a bit of audio, bit of Photoshop, bit of 3D modeling, and like, that's where I actually first discovered 3D modeling. You know, I finally got I got like 3ds Max 2000,
Oh boy.
2012 or something like that, 2011, and you know, using UDK3 and stuff like that, just really really cool stuff. And
Yeah.
I think that's where the growth started of like I really like doing 3D modeling.
That's where the
'Cause, like-
story of Jared began.
Yeah, I was like, you know, we were asked to make simple stuff for our modules and stuff like that, and I would, you know, people were only really doing it in class, but I actually wanted to go home and do it for myself,
Mhm.
type thing. So I downloaded Max I was using at the time, and yeah, just messed about for a while, got used to it. You know, I was slightly ahead of where people in my course were. There were some other people as well who were interested, and they also got pretty far because they had the same idea as me. They just wanted to work on their own stuff at home,
Mhm.
so it was pretty cool. And yeah, I think that's where it really started. After
That's
that,
great.
after that, it was a pretty hard decision because, you know, they were asking us if we wanted to stay on to do HND,
Mhm.
which is like the equivalent of your first year at university, I think.
Yeah.
But I legit, like, being honest, I never even heard of Abertay before a few months before I even applied to it.
Mhm.
I think I was applying to go to, there was one down England that a lot of people go to.
Oh, let's try and think. Oh gosh, there's so many.
Yeah, there's one that's pretty big.
Right.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I think there's like 5 well-known. There's so many of them now. They're finally getting to that level. That's like they're just that well known. If you know what I mean, similar to Abertay and etc.
Yeah, and so yeah, just a few of the guys from my class were like, yeah, we're all going to go to Abertay because, you know, they had a friend who went to it or something. So that's how I found out about it.
Right. Nice.
Yeah, just applied for the GDPM course. So I didn't actually apply for the art course.
Mhm.
And I don't really have any. I think they wanted like a portfolio of like 2D art.
Is that for the game design?
No, for the art course.
Okay.
I heard that they wanted a portfolio, but I just applied for the game design course, you know, because I thought there'd be more. Because I was sort of interested in level design at the time, you know,
Yeah.
general design thing. So I thought, you know, I can get into this course, and I had heard that course had been a very, you know, just do a bit of everything type thing,
Mhm.
you know, and see what you like and specialize in that. So that was in 2012, I think, and then started in September 2013, because you would have started the same year as
Yeah,
me.
well,
September, you know?
that's the cool thing, because like, just speaking of like everything you've talked about, yes. So I joined in Abertay on my 3rd year of uni. So I joined obviously late, and I went through the college route as well. And
Yeah.
I loved the college route.
I loved
Um,
college too. It was great.
College was sick. I don't know, like, to me, like I love Abertay, but to me, my first year of Aberdeen College was one of the coolest years of my life.
Yeah.
I just think it's because, like, do you know, you just realize that moment. It's like, for example, when you transitioned and you like left secondary school, like you said to the lecturers, you know what, I'm gonna do what I want. And
Yeah.
then, and first of all, going back, one of the most coolest, most epic points you said right at the start was the fact that you said, like, you got kind of discouraged from a physics teacher, but you kept going, and
Yeah.
that's like the biggest, like, for example, that one hurdle is probably like the biggest hurdle in your life, because that's the thing. That's like the yes or no moment, if you know what I mean, like the make or break. Because
Oh
like
yeah, big time.
like so many people let people kind of how can I say it, they get affected by that moment, and I completely understand when it comes to like negative impact and stuff and that. Like we've all gone through certain moments and stuff, but the fact that
Yeah.
you were able to like just go like, you know what, I'm doing this for me, like that's just
Yeah.
great because that's what you want to see.
It was more just the fact that her own ignorance towards the subject
Yeah,
could have caused me to not follow what I want to do.
of
I
course.
mean, obviously in a way she may have been right in terms of like physics programming and stuff like that, but
Mhm.
she obviously had no idea about the other the other sort of aspects of game design, aka design and art and
Yeah,
audio and stuff like that. But
like it's a whole
yeah, so
skill.
it's just it can just. I'm so glad like I just didn't let her ignorance sort of affect me in that way. It did for a while when I was younger. Like I just sort of
Mhm.
there's no point in me trying to do this type thing because I'll never be good at physics or maths.
Mhm.
But then it sort of slept, it sort of went back into the back of my mind for a bit, and then once I decided to leave school, I was like, here, I was flicking through their sort of their prospectus, I think, for the
Mhm.
college course, and
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, I forgot about it. I really liked it. Like I love video games. I really wanted to do it when I was younger. It's like, so why not just do it? You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Yeah, it was great.
No, that's amazing because that's one of the things that I think is so amazing about your journey and your just overall path as a whole. So you've went from, obviously you came from Northern Ireland to go to Scotland, and I know you're here in Scotland in Dundee as a junior environment artist,
Yep.
and like making that transition as well. Was that kind of just kind of instant yes, or like how did that kind of pan out in terms of making the decision to go to Scotland?
Uh, it was definitely tough because I was living with my parents.
Mhm.
You're sort of babied a bit. Your things are taken care of for you don't really have to worry about paying rent and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I think that was definitely the biggest factor for me going over. I was a bit nervous.
Mhm.
It probably would have been different if I wasn't going with people that I knew, because we all lived in that old mill place in Dundee beside the
Right.
uni. So yeah, we all lived in like a 4-bedroom flat. So
Nice.
that definitely softened the blow a lot of being in this new place I've never been before in my life.
Mhm.
So, but it was me, another GDPM.
Wait, do I know them? Who did you go with?
Uh,
I don't. Will I know them?
Lindsay Adair?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, Lindsay. Yeah.
Yeah, I live with Lindsay, and then I live with a guy called Grant, who
Right.
works at Puny Astronaut.
All right. Amazing. Awesome.
And then a guy Stephen who dropped out after a while. I think the course wasn't for him.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean after that was a good way just to sort of soften the blow of living in a new place because I was with people that I knew from my college course.
Mhm.
But yeah, after that was smooth sailing from there. Really, I loved the 4 years I was at uni.
Yeah,
In
that's
terms of
great to
like
hear.
there were some bad moments just because of like landlords and stuff like that, but it was nothing really major. Like the course was decent enough, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, the transition was tough at the start, bit of homesickness, but yeah, it got better after a while.
No, that's great to hear because at the end of the day, like that's like that in a nutshell is another big move. Like you've made, like you haven't even started uni and you've already made two like massive kind of things that are like so important. Like everyone is always tuning in. I always feel like you've just got to go after it as many times as I say. It's like sometimes you just have to take the risk and see what happens. Like even if it's just to go for a few months or a year just to try it out. Like it's not wasting your money because you're finding the answers out, if you know what I mean. And that's what you're trying to do when you're starting out as just as an artist or whatever career path you're trying to find. Like, it's all about finding answers, and at the end of the day, like if you didn't take that leap, you wouldn't have been able to know, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, big time. I mean, I think there was times around maybe near the end of first year. My grades weren't amazing in first year or second year really.
Mhm.
They weren't really amazing, and I was like, "Oh, is this really for me?" type thing. There was a sort of question and doubt, and I was like, "I can't just like I would feel so bad if I just gave up, sort
Mhm.
of thing." So I was like, "I can't just quit now. I have to just get on with it," type thing, and get
Yeah.
better. So yeah, there was definitely times when I thought maybe the course isn't for me, but I stuck it out, sort of thing. But and obviously it worked out in the end for me.
Oh,
So.
dude, you did awesome. Like I remember the first time I ever came across, first time we ever met. Like, I was just like, you had 3DS Max open, and you know me, I just start geeking out. It's like I just came in. I was like, the second is it the second floor? I always get mixed up what's called your first floor and your second floor for some reason these days. Like I
Was
just
it
always
the area beside the masters area, the
yeah
2526 room?
yeah. So I came in there, and then he just caught you on 3DS Max. I was like, "What you doing?" And then you're like, "Making 3D," and I was like, "Okay, I'm your friend now. We're just friends from now on." So every time you were working in your classwork, I'd be like turning around. Wait, what's Jared doing?
Yeah, we always used to, especially in third year. I didn't know. Just going back on what you said, I didn't know that you joined in third year. I didn't know that. I thought you started.
Oh no, I joined very late because
Okay.
I did the college route for I did HNC in Aberdeen, HND in Edinburgh, and then Abertay University third and fourth year.
That's mad that I didn't know they would let you join a third year. That's pretty crazy.
Oh, it's like I had to like do you know, like you were saying about the portfolio side of things.
Yeah.
So like you had to so if you were to do the computer arts, it would just be 2D. So I
Yeah.
had to in order to get in for third year. It was actually Lynn that marked my. I'm pretty sure it was Lynn that critiqued my portfolio.
Oh,
So
really?
I
Okay.
was I was really I was really lucky and because Lynn's great, she's amazing. Literally hands down one of the hardest working people I've ever met, and she literally. I'm pretty sure I had a meeting as well. I don't recall exactly, but I'm pretty sure she was the one who like gave me the pass and all clear because I had literally 2 years of just 3D environments from first and second year of college.
Okay.
So
And they,
I was kind of lucky.
yeah, I mean, to be fair, like, even if you didn't have 2D, the fact that you have a portfolio with 3D should be enough. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But I don't know what their requirements are now. Like, they
Mhm.
might still have that requirement. They might be stricter, to be honest,
Yeah.
than what they were.
I personally hope that is like not well. It's a healthy balance. Like at the end of the day, like I feel like everyone deserves a chance to kind of like I think like I don't know like what's your thoughts on this? I never actually thought about asking this, but it's like, do you know when you're really passionate about something, but maybe you're not so skilled to start off with, but you still want to
Yeah.
apply, and
Well,
it's just like
I mean, I guess, for me personally, I don't really have any 2D skills.
mhm
You know what I mean? I did like a concept art, quote unquote, module at that college, but it was just like an art teacher teaching us like the principles of art. It wasn't really anything crazy.
yep
But like, so what I lacked in 2D, I made up for it in 3D, so I I probably wouldn't have got into the art course
mhm
at Abertay, but I unfortunately at Abertay whenever we were there, I'm probably still there now to be honest. There was a lot of like stigma for people who did GDPM
okay
because there was a lot of thing, master of jack of all trades, master of none type stuff that was going around, and it sort of bugged me because I know a lot of people from my GDPM class who went on to be like full on programmers or designers, and
mhm
myself, I was an artist myself, like, but
yeah
it's just it got a bit of a bad stigma to it whenever I was there. It just sort of felt like people just thought we were there to be producers or something. It's like, nah,
mhm
there's some seriously talented people in my year, like.
yeah. No, I completely understand. Like at the end of the day, when it comes to certain roles, people have to start really appreciating everything as a whole. Because my last the last podcast I uploaded, or the last two that I've been uploading, it's game design, and game design is amazing. Like there's so many things. Like this is the thing. When it comes to roles, like you can learn from everybody, and everyone has a value and can literally, like, for example, that's one of the things I think would be really great to talk about today is the fact that game design and environment art are literally like they go hand in hand. So like they have to, like they're literally like you
Oh
can't
yeah, big time.
you can't
Yeah.
have one without the other. It's common sense. It's just like if people are selling game designers short, then it's like your game is going to be bad. As simple as that.
Yeah.
It's a healthy balance. Like when it comes to your journey, what do you think has kind of really helped you with your environment art by doing game design?
I think doing like I think trying to do more like level design type stuff, trying
Mhm.
to think of environments that have a purpose.
Yep.
Maybe if I'm planning on doing something like an environment project, I'll definitely get on Photoshop and do a level plan type thing.
Mhm.
Um, Maybe write down ideas of how I think it would play in a game. Certain key areas I would want the player to go to, and that filters into making like asset lists
Yep.
and sort of stuff like that, and key assets that I want the player to look at type thing. So there is sort of elements to it there. Pardon me. Yeah, it's obviously I don't have to do all the mad scripting stuff because I'm
Yeah,
just
you
there to
don't have
make
to
an
do all that
environment.
stuff as well.
Yeah, but I definitely do a lot of pre planning. I
Yeah.
think having Photoshop's knowledge is definitely a plus because you can just create stuff really easy with it, or
Mm-hmm.
or if you don't have that, just use paint
Yeah.
to make a basic floor plan.
Like that's the thing at the end of the day. It's just like the small things that you like. It goes such a long way. As obvious and cliche as it sounds at the end of the day, it's like it adds so much value to your work. And like the way you start thinking, the way you start planning, you observe things, you take everything from your surroundings into your design, really carries through and makes it complete. Like that's one thing. Like hands down, like one of the coolest things I love about your portfolio is the fact is like there's two things that I think is so awesome about your portfolio is how much in, for example, the short period of time that you transitioned from game design to environment art, like you were experimenting like crazy, like you were trying things, you weren't afraid to go like above and beyond. Like when I came across your uploads, etc., like there'll be like crazy exploration with lighting, like for example your alien scene, you're just going crazy with trying to try something different. And all these things are going on, sorry, while you're trying to find a job. Like like doing trial and error, because obviously you've just finished your game design course and you've realized your passion near the end, that it was environment that you want to go down. And I think that's one thing I really appreciate when I see your work, is the fact that you could tell how much thought you were thinking about. And because I understand, like, do you know that feeling when you finish uni, like you want to get a job?
Oh yeah, big time.
Like of course, it's like, I don't know why I said it's like, you know that feeling. I'm pretty sure everyone has that feeling. But it's like when you get that feeling, like you could tell how badly you wanted it, because there was so much exploration and you were trying to figure answers out, and that just is so important at the end of the day. Like so many people just delay things.
Yeah, it was at the end whenever we when did we oh fuck we graduated July 2017.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh
so long
gosh.
ago.
Oh dude, I can't believe that now. Oh, 3 years
I
ago, man.
know.
3 years ago.
I know, it was crazy. Yeah, for me, it was a bit of a bummer for me personally because near the end of yeah, graduation, I graduation was in July or
Mhm.
June, something like that. I had to leave Dundee in May.
Right.
It was just after the graduate show.
What was
I
the
think I
reason
had
for
to
that?
leave. I literally ran out of money and
Okay.
couldn't stay any longer. So because of that, it was just sort of like, I felt like I was sort of robbed of my chance to get a job,
Mhm.
because your best chance to get a job is if when you're in Dundee.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just financial reasons. I just had to leave. Didn't have a job or anything, so I just had to come home. And thankfully, my brother was able to get me a job in a kitchen
Mhm.
as a kitchen
Nice.
porter. So
Good.
I was able to get back on my feet for a while there. It was like, I think I may have started in mid-July 2017 or something like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I worked in that kitchen for 2 years, but I was working, it was a 0 hour contract in a kitchen, so it was pretty crazy shifts.
Mhm.
8 or 9 hour shifts on your feet all day, and then you want to come home and make art. You're tired.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Exhausted.
Yeah, so there was a while where I just didn't have any inspiration.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of people go through that. They just, like, everything they make, they just don't really like.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just kept working on it. I was just, kept trying to get better. I wanted to try and learn more industry standard pipelines.
Mhm.
So I switched off Quixel, moved to Substance Painter.
Yeah.
Well, it was Quixel Suite at the time. It's obviously Mixer now, but I was like, what, I want to try and get into Substance Painter, because a lot of the places I'd applied for, they were obviously wanting Substance Painter and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I did apply for some companies, but they sort of let me down, sort of thing. They wouldn't get back to me,
Okay.
or I had failed the interview type thing, so it was on me as well.
Yeah.
But I think one thing that I only realized maybe near the end, before I started in Junkfish,
Mhm.
that sort of summer, I was thinking to myself, when I left in 2017, I was like, oh, I really like, I applied for like the Ubisoft internship and stuff
Mhm.
like that. And I was like, I really want to get this. I feel like I'm good enough.
Mhm.
And then looking back now, you're thinking and go, like, everyone thinks that they deserve it,
Yeah.
sort of thing. But sometimes your skills are just not up to snuff.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I
And looking
completely
back at
understand.
my work now, and going, I can see why I didn't get a job, because my work wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I'm glad I'm able to see that sort of progression
Yeah.
in myself. So
That's so vital, man. That's great. Because at the end of the day, it's like that's like sometimes that takes years for people to realize, like just the truth, and just be 100% honest with themselves.
Oh yeah, big time. It's it's you can't lie to yourself really.
Yeah,
It's like I almost thought as if because I went through uni, I deserved to get a job type thing.
yeah,
But it's not like that.
of course.
There's it's a mixture really of hard work and being in the right place at the right time.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? That's all it is.
Yeah,
For most people.
I completely agree. Like, at the end of the day, like, for example, like, dude, I was the same as you in the sense that, so when my mentality when I finished university was, I was very, very kind of, I've always been a patient person. Like, I've always kind of, I learned like my one of my biggest lessons was when I was 19. It kind of gave me a big reality check. It was actually through sport. Like, it was just like to kind of learn to kind of be humble and learn to be not, because I was always coming from like I'm the most competitive person in history, and then suddenly I've kind of flipped to be very kind of more kind of relaxed and stuff, and it really helped in a long run, and that
Yeah.
kind of translated over to just being patient, because I have always wanted to be at certain studios. Like, I never cared about anyone else. I knew exactly what I wanted. I was like, right, I want to work here, and if it doesn't work out for me, or it's not for me, then I know what my other options are. But
Yeah.
what you said there was super important, was the fact that, like, you've just got to be true to yourself and know at the end of the day, like, get the best feedback possible. Like, go to the right people.
Oh yeah. Big time. I think in a way I can see where you're coming from as well. Like I think it's perfectly fine to be like I want to work here
Yeah,
type thing. I think that's perfectly acceptable.
definitely.
It's good to have targets to set yourself, but at the same time, I think it's also nice to realize like it's a thing to realize that sometimes life just doesn't go the way you want it to.
Yeah.
Life gets in the way.
Of
and
course.
just gives you other plans type thing.
Yeah, but that's the experiment, and that's the reason that we all have to try these things out. So, like, even today, like, the most important lesson was actually probably the thing you said right at the start. Is it's the hardest hurdle. It's the first step. As cliche as it sounds, it's the yes or no. It's the make or break moment. That at the end of the day, every decision you make changes your path in some shape or form. If you know what I mean. Like, everything's like a different twist. And if you think about it, everything you've done, like, is so cool, because at the day you're now 9 months into your career at Junkfish, making like epic horror games and stuff. Like, it's so cool. I was watching the videos today. It's like, damn,
Yeah.
that's sick.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, for me, working on like a horror type game, like a realistic,
Hmm.
that's the sort of art style I go for. I want to try and get that sort of realism type thing.
Yeah.
Whatever realism means.
Yeah,
in
of course.
games, but I love like hyper realistic. Like that Resi 7 look.
Oh, happy!
Which-
Here's this discussions, boys. Here it goes. It's all beginning. Sorry, I'm speaking out Resident Evil time. I'm zoning
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, I mean, Resident Evil 4 is one of my favorite
Oh,
games of all time.
Biggest
I actually,
legend ever.
and I even did a fan art piece
Yeah.
on it. You know what I mean? I was like, you know what? I think a thing for me that really boosted my skills
Mhm.
was doing fan art.
Yep.
And I always seen a lot of things from like people criticizing people for having fan art
Yeah.
on their portfolios. Like, I think that's silly. If you want to have fan art, go. I mean, that's perfectly acceptable to have fan art.
Of
You know what
course.
I mean? As long as you state that it's fan art.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do you want to go? Oh, I made this for this game. Like, no, you didn't.
Like,
And I think it's one way to because for me doing fan art was a way for me to get out of like creative ruts. I was
Yeah.
like, I don't really know what to make. It's like, well, I really like Resident Evil 4, so why don't I make an area from Resident Evil 4?
mhm.
You know what I mean? And then it gives you that sort of creative juices,
Yeah.
and then it just brings you further type thing.
Oh, like, dudes, this is getting even more epic by the second. Like, just by like, because literally, this is so great having you on, man. It's like, literally, I can just talk about all my passions in one podcast. It's great. Like, Resident Evil 4. Oh my god, like, dude, like, the environment that you made, right? I was just like, that's the first time when he's walking into the room in Resident Evil 4, and the old man, almost the grandpa, is just
Yeah.
there. He's like getting ready to turn around, speak his.
He's not even a zombie. He's just a regular old dude.
Yeah. And he's
Yeah.
turning around and it all's about kickoff. And the sick thing is that you pulled it off so well. It's like you can still see it's kind of like in Res 4 when it came out. Like, it was that. It's kind of, you could tell the polygons were that flat. Like, it was the look of it was nailed perfectly. Like, you just tell. It's just like Yeah, just a tiny bit of normal map, and then just keep most of it's flat, and then the book as well with like this the ancient carving, like the I don't know what it's called. It's like the crest almost.
Yeah, the crest type thing. Yeah.
Nailed it. I love it.
Yeah, I was quite proud of that one. It really sort of helped me at that point get the sort of ideas going because I hadn't really made anything in a while at that point. I think.
Yeah.
And I think I may have been still using Quixel at that point as well. Yeah, so there was a bit of a transition period for me switching to Quixel to Substance Painter.
Yep.
And I think now, for me personally, the reason why I switched was because it just wasn't being updated really, and then they switched to Megascan and stuff, and now they have Mixer.
Yep.
So I think Substance Painter and Mixer are both equally viable now, to be honest.
Of course.
But I think just more places just use Substance Painter. I think a lot of big companies may use Megascans and stuff like that, but
yep.
I don't really know that much about it.
Well, that's the thing. Like, you were literally the first person when I was going through uni. So I came across Painter. Oh gosh, when did I come across Painter? It's got to be third year. But I remember your piece. You did a post either on LinkedIn somewhere. I don't know where it was, but you posted it somewhere, and I was like, what software is Gerard using? Because this is sick. Because I have no idea. I've never used it. Because I've still never used it to this day. But I was so curious at the time because I was using Photoshop so heavy back in the day, because obviously that was what we did for our Painter textures. I did like a Forge scene, and then a Star Wars TIE Fighter scene.
Oh, I was so jealous whenever I was watching you make that.
Oh, come on, dude!
It was so detailed. Like, just watching, like, the modeling and stuff was so detailed, and I used to turn around and see you making it. I was like, holy shit, this is crazy.
I was loving it so much, dude. There was this. Did I ever show you my book? It was like, oh, dude, it's like the coolest book ever. It's like, do you know those cross sections you get?
Oh yeah, it was the Star Wars one that had all the cross sections of all the TIE fighters and stuff.
Yeah, I must have showed you it because I literally had every kind of up to date vehicle. Oh, it was epic. Yeah. I was like, which one do I choose? And I was just like, right, I'm doing an Unreal TIE Fighter, Star Wars, Darth Vader going breathing, sound effects, and I was like, oh, here we go.
Yeah, I remember watching it. It was like the boot up sequence and stuff. I was really impressed with that. It was really cool.
Well, dude, like, that's the thing. Like, I thought that was awesome when learning that from you guys. So when it came to, like, for example, one of my good friends at university was Brian Evans.
Yeah, oh yeah, Brian was in my class. He works at Ubisoft now.
I haven't talked to Brian in ages. He's just disappeared. Brian, if you're listening to this, say hello wherever you are. Because like
he's at Ubisoft now.
Yeah, he's just working away. Because like when I came across like talking to Brian, talking to like you guys on the other side, like the audio when it came to like third year project, I was just like overwhelmed in such a great way because like also when I started talking to Yannick, like I was just like, hell yeah, this is epic.
Yannick, jeez,
just a legend.
The guy's insane. Like, his name speaks for himself. Everyone knows him, really. He speaks for himself, really.
Definitely, so good. But like that's the thing is like through our discussions when we were able to talk through our Unreal class with Robin, like it would be so cool. Like be so many back and forth interactions and just being able to like turn around. Like for example, when you're working your project, I can just talk to you in that. Like me, I'm just one of those guys who just like I just see something, I'm like, come to me.
Yeah.
I just start talking.
But that's good though, because I think obviously you're very introverted. You're very well to talk to people and stuff like that. So I wasn't exactly introverted, but I did keep myself to myself. But I was always willing to talk to people as well. It was always cool talking to the other artists from the computer arts course, because at the time I never. It's obviously just a bit of like imposter syndrome stuff. You're just like, oh, I don't really feel like an artist type thing, Right. Because they just sort of see me as a GDPM. But yeah, it was good talking to people from different courses and stuff like that.
I really hope like what you're saying there, like, because I hope people have stopped seeing it like that. Because at the end of the day, like, GDPM is like it's such a skill. And like for example, when I was working with Brian. Like Brian taught me so much because he was in charge of our team for the group project.
Yeah, he was a pretty beast programmer as well, and like he knew everything about Unity and stuff like that.
Of course, like having these friends, like having these people around you to learn different things, to teach you how to cope with situations, how to plan, how to work with all. Like there's so much things involved with games. Like that's why I think your environment for what you did with the honors project was so successful. And congratulations once again for getting the award, because you deserved it so much, man. Because it was like There was
Oh yeah, the Sega Award. I actually whenever I was back in Belfast
Yeah.
in January, I completely forgot about it. I went back to my mum's house and she had kept the actual thing, the wee
Perfect.
award. I was like, oh yeah, fuck, I forgot about this. I was so happy about that.
Yeah, well, you deserved it. Like the fact that you guys did that collaboration project. Can you tell us a wee bit about that?
Yes, so that project Repent was me and my friend Gordon Thompson, who is I think probably one of Aberdeen's more celebrated GDPMs, definitely, especially in our year. And, he works at Ubisoft now as a level designer on the Division 2, so
Awesome.
that was like his career goal. And another friend of mine, Connor Digney, who is a level designer down in Dublin, working in Black Shamrock. Yeah, it's just us sitting in. I don't know if you remember that pizza place, Project Pie. It was just up.
Where's this? I'm trying to remember.
It was just up the road from McDonald's in the main street of Dundee.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, it was beside the bank bar, the Witherspoons type place.
Okay. I know we are.
Yeah, so we're just sitting there, and the Resi 7 demo had just came out.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And we're like, fuck, this game looks really, really cool, And we're like, what if we just made our own version? And we were sitting there over eating food, just talking about it. And we're like, what if we just made our own version? You start off in like this dungeon type area, and you make your way up, and you're in this old creaky house, and you walk your way through, and it's abandoned, crusty, and old, and there's this like religious horror theme going through because a lot of the inspiration for my art comes from those old movies like The Omen and Amityville Horror, and those really old sort of religious horror films type thing,
Nice.
With the really creepy ones. So yeah, that's sort of, and we obviously wanted to match it. We wanted to match the type of art style of Resi 7 because this game looks so cool. We want to do this, So we literally all got our food and went home, and then jumped on Discord. I think if Discord, it's probably Skype or something. I don't think Discord was about.
Yeah.
And we just grey boxed it out, and then just started working our way through it. At the start, it was me, Connor, and Gordon.
Okay.
And then I think it was near the end, it was mostly me and Gordon doing the majority of it.
Yeah.
Connor made a good chunk of assets for us as well, but I think near the end it was mainly me and Gordon.
Yeah, because you were doing the environment, weren't you?
Yeah, I was doing the environment art, and Connor helped out with that. He made a lot of props and stuff like that, so it was pretty good.
Nice.
Gordon did a lot of just the lighting and the scripting and stuff, because we thought, we could make it slightly playable. You find like lock picks or something like that to open doors, and there's like a
nice,
slight objective.
You got to.
Yeah, so yeah, we worked on that and this was during our actual honors project as well. So we just decided to do this on the whim. But yeah, so we're working on our projects and working on Repent as well. So that was about.
Wait a second, I forgot this. So that wasn't your honors project?
No, that was just a side project.
Oh my gosh, I did not know this.
My honors project was a game based on the Troubles in Northern Ireland, 1970s. It was like a story-based game.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did Repent on the side.
Oh my lord, right, dude.
So, yeah.
It just reminds me of I've told this story a few times on the podcast because doing the Disney project.
Oh yeah, and I was going to mention that as well. I think at the same time, I applied for that Disney internship thing.
Yeah.
I know you did as well, and a good few other people.
Yeah.
I applied to be an environment artist on that, and then I ended up getting like project manager or something, and I was like, you know what, this isn't for me, because I think you probably already know this, but they were asking me to scrap my honors project and do that for my honors project.
Wait, scrap your main honors project, yeah?
Yeah, they want me to scrap my main honors project and work on that, and I was advised by a lecturer to not do that, and I took his advice and decided to drop out of the Disney project. And I've heard good and bad things about it. I heard it didn't. I heard another few people dropped out of it. Yeah.
Oh, there was so many. There was about. Sorry to cut you off there. I wasn't trying to be rude.
That's alright. It's fine.
There was. I think at the start there was about 25 of us.
Yeah.
And it went down to I think 13 or 14. And there was a time when. Do you remember one of my good friends, Eddie Pedro? Do you remember Eddie by any chance?
Yeah. I have him on Facebook. Yeah.
So Eddie's a good friend of mine, and there was one time this was like this is a story, dude. So it was like back to back all nighters, right? However, it was, and then the last day was the submission for Disney. However, on the second night, Eddie got ill, so he was doing it all nighter back to back while ill, and he was like trying to survive off coffee, and he goes like this, Ross, just keep doing the text read, we'll just keep going, and he literally like no joke, dude, it's like it was like literally I don't know 50 odd hours of like no sleep. And then to top it off, the next day, I literally broke my record of the longest sleep. I slept for 17 and a half hours.
Jeez.
I was like, it was the craziest story ever. And then that just makes me just remember as well, is like the fact that you were doing that thing on top of your thing. I was like, damn, there's like so much going on. Number one rule, folks, please don't take on too much in your final year.
Yeah, but I mean, that's true, yes, but at the same time, me doing Repent made my own honors project better because I got better at 3D modeling and texturing because of that, you know. I mean, in a way, like my main honors project means a lot to me personally, just because it's for and from, and it's a lot of my own personal backstory and history and stuff like that. But I think in terms of visuals and the vibe and the theme, Repent is like even now, it's still my favorite thing I've ever worked on. And
dude, it's so good.
I've always talked to Gordon. You know, I they're my closest friends, Gordon and Connor. You know, so I've always talked to him about, maybe we should do Repent 2 and stuff like that.
Please.
It's just a matter of time, really. You know, we've talked about it before, and it's just a matter of, because all three of us work in industry now. It's tough to get the time that we had when we were students. You know. No,
I completely understand. So when it comes to horror, what do you think? This is a big question, but I think that you're the best person to ever ask this. So, what makes a successful horror game in your eyes through your experience of playing them?
Oh, that is a tough one.
I've hit you with a boom. Take it, Jared.
I mean, to be fair, I think that audio, apart from the art, like, because obviously I am an artist, so I do want to say the art makes it, but I really do think that the audio goes a long way, even before you even get to the art, because obviously was it the sum of its whole or something like that? It's like all these parts combined make it great. But for me, because I have a bit of a background in music as well, and art, the audio and the art for me are like just the two key factors.
Perfect.
I think just having, for me, the art.
It's a tough one, I know.
I'm trying to put the things in my head in the words.
Take your time, man. No rush whatsoever. Because like one thing, I guess it might be easier to answer the question is like, what helps tell a story when it comes to horror? Like, is there anything that kind of stands out to you that really sells a good horror? Like, whether it's props, whether it's like you said, sound effects, like footsteps.
Oh yeah, just like haven't really trying to tell us. For me, just going back to Repent, obviously there wasn't a lot of like gameplay, so we had to try and get a lot of the story through like environmental storytelling. And having a really nicely crafted environment, and mixing that and blending that with really, really nice audio, and just trying to get references from things that you love that work for other horror things. Whenever we were working on Repent, I was looking at films like the Amityville Horror and the Omen and Stigmata and all these really, really crazy horror films. And what they do to create this really feeling of unease. That's what makes it scary. You know what I mean? It's like I'm not a fan of jump scares.
Okay.
I think they're quite cheap, honestly, especially like for films, stuff like that.
As in like just too easy, like too obvious.
Yeah, it's just you get a scared of someone, but it doesn't really feel good.
Yeah.
There's films like I'll keep going back to it, but like the Amityville Horror or the Omen, they build tension, and I think creating tension is the best thing. And obviously you give that relief where there's nothing happens, and you're like, and then you build it up again type thing. You keep it going, then you give the player a heart attack or something.
It's like, dude, it's so true. Like, there's nothing worse. Like, tell me if you've seen this film. I don't remember. I remember it briefly. So this is one film that used to kind of scare me as a kid. It must have. It had Mel Gibson in it, it's called The Signs.
Yes, Signs, yeah.
And I remember the first time.
Joaquin Phoenix as well.
Yeah, Joaquin Phoenix. Yeah, when he was younger, I remember. Yeah. And then like you saw the signs in all the cornfields.
Yeah.
And like even though, like you were saying, like it would be slowly building up, and you'd be wondering what's coming around the corner, and like the music would be changing, everything would just be suddenly quiet, and then everything would just like the wind would stop blowing, everything would just make sense, and then suddenly, like you said, nothing would happen, and then suddenly like it would go quiet, and you turn around and then something happened again. It's like just
Yeah.
constantly keeping you on your feet. That's like the worst, but the greatest experience at the same time.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, Signs is such a good. It is very. It's not scary, quote unquote,
Yeah,
but it's so tense.
definitely.
Because you obviously when they hide in the bunker and stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, and then the alien finally arrives. You see it.
Yeah, that realization as well. Stuff like that. Yeah, it's
So-
great. It's a great film.
Like that was the thing, like with your piece, that I think was really nice. Like one of the things I think really sold the piece was, first of all, the destruction, and then
Yeah.
second of all was like you did the textures in a way that made it look very wet and very damp, which was really nice to see. Can you just talk about like that kind of process?
Yeah, I mean, I think we were using Quixel for that, so the work I've done in obviously Quixel used a lot of scan based textures and stuff like that, so it is very realistic. But I think all that sort of stuff was sort of decided when we were designing it. You know, we didn't do a lot of design, we just did a basic floor plan and stuff, and we just sort of envisioned. We literally just took the demo from Resi 7 and went, what's the cool things that these guys do
Yeah.
in this demo? What can we just copy it?
Well, why
Essentially,
not?
you know?
Exactly. There's nothing wrong with it.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you learn from the best. You gotta learn from the best. Like, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah. So just creating those textures, trying to keep it consistent. You know, trying to think about what the house has been through, who's been through it. You know, and how that results in creating the textures. You know, obviously the textures are going to be worn down and maybe a bit shiny because they've been damp and stuff like that. You know, so just adds to it, and then there's obviously another layer of lighting that adds to it as well. Gordon done a lot of the lighting. He pretty much done all the level design type stuff. The reason why I look so cluttered is that I gave Gordon a bunch of assets and he just went crazy.
Went crazy with it. Just went ham.
Yeah, 'cause he loves that sort of stuff, like that set dressing thing. So
Yeah.
a lot of that was down to him. He did a really good job on that. It was really cool.
Was like there's one thing I hear here quite a lot. So one of the biggest habits that a lot of artists, when they're making horrors, in terms of like the mistakes that they make, is making it too dark. And is there anything that you feel, either in a game that you experience or a film or just through your art practices, is things that people make, like what do they do wrong with, like what makes a bad horror film? Like is there anything that kind of stands out, like what they should be doing better?
I think there's a lot of cliches. I don't really know for horror. I've played a goofy horror games, but I haven't played them all. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of cliches, even just films, stuff like that. Obviously, the jump scare is one that I was saying earlier. I just don't really like. But there's a whole sort of subverting the audience's expectations about thing, and sometimes it can be a bit overdone, and it'd be good to avoid those sort of things, you know. Yeah, I just feel like if you can avoid those things and try and come up with something original.
Yeah, try not to be so
Yeah,
cliche.
Yeah, you know, not everything. You don't need a jump scare to be scary.
Yeah,
You know, to have a scary film, you can build it with tension, with music. You know what I mean? It doesn't always have to just be quiet and then something jumps out of you type thing.
yeah.
So it just feels like it can be cheap.
Well, like that's always a good thing, because at the end of the day, like being able to, like you said there, when it comes to sound, like sound can really sell your environment art piece. I understand that not necessarily most people actually listen to the audio of your fly through, depending on the studio. However, if you're really trying to maybe make an immersive piece or make something stand out among others, like say when you're showcasing your work on ArtStation, you're wanting to give them an experience, then experimenting with sound goes such a long way, like ambient sounds, footsteps, you name it.
Oh yeah, big time.
Like that's always the thing as well. Would you agree, like footsteps though sometimes they're getting too loud in games? I feel like that's just too much.
I think it just depends on how the footsteps are being used. You know,
Yeah.
they could be there for a gameplay element. I think, you know, I don't think we had any footsteps in Repent, only because, you know, we just didn't really think about it, to be honest. You know.
Yeah.
I guess it just depends on the context of why you're using the footsteps.
Yeah. Bring it all together.
Yeah, for me, the audio in that alien piece.
Okay. Yeah. I know which one.
Yeah, because I created a video for it. It was the walkthrough, and I used the audio from Alien Isolation, the alarm sound.
Yeah, I was watching it today.
Yeah, I was talking to my friend about it, and he's a big fan of the game. And he's like, that alarm sound gives him like PTSD because it's so the alarm sounds so in your head, and like it only really happens at this mad chase scene.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I'm gonna put this in my wee level as well because it has like the flashing lights and the gas and.
Oh, there's so
you know
much
what I mean?
going
So
on.
it's
It's just kicking off.
yeah, and it just adds to it. You know, it just feels like you're actually in the Nostromo. You know.
Yeah. Like that's the thing is like you can literally like that's the thing like when you're making that piece, right? So it's so claustrophobic. Like the pipes are there. It's literally so many like kind of repetitive shapes stacked up, and you can tell they're heavy as well with the weight and with the texture detail underneath. And then you've got the lights on the left with the fans rotating, super loud as well. Things just going on, and you can just tell there's only two ways to go. You're either going back the way or forward. So it's like the Xenomorph's either in front of you, mate, or he's behind you. Which way are you gonna choose?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, there was a lot. I liked a lot of things about that project. I honestly think the Nostromo environment is the piece that got me the job.
Which piece? Sorry.
The alien environment.
Okay,
I
nice.
think-
Good to hear.
I think that's the thing that whenever I was being hired, I think that's the thing they may have looked at the most.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was proud of it. There's definitely a lot of things looking back on it I would definitely change now.
That's my next question. What would it be that you would change?
I think I would just make it a bit more open in terms of like, you know, there's just walls, two
Mhm.
walls there really, you know. A lot of the texture quality and even the quality of the meshes and stuff could be improved, and the
Mhm.
light could be, I actually like the lighting, to be fair.
I think the lighting's great.
Those really big emissive lights going through the side and stuff.
Yeah, and like it's like I was saying to you earlier, like you even though it may be a bit extreme a wee bit, but it doesn't matter because it adds to the effect of right, you know, it's like a different world in a sense.
Yeah, I was happy with it. There definitely could be another pass on. I would say I would love to maybe make it again, only with the knowledge that I have now, type thing. You know, make it more detailed.
Yeah. Would that translate over to the same? Would it be the same kind of changes you would take in the Repent piece, or when it comes to selling that, what else would you change?
Oh yeah, I mean, I would definitely take the approach that I've learned just from working at Junkfish in terms of using a modular approach instead of just making this piece is for a wall and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? And I think I've done that with the Alien piece. I made a few modular pieces and then just kept it going. But yeah, I think understand like just the sort of tips and tricks you pick up, all the wee small things you pick up when you're working in a studio that you might not have learned by yourself because you're working with these super experienced people and, you know, they're years of industry,
Yeah.
sort of background. Yeah, you just pick up on small things and you notice yourself getting better.
Of course. Well,
So
that's,
I would definitely take those into making if I had the chance to make Repent 2. quote
Repent
unquote.
to. You heard it here first. I can't speak here first, folks. So we'll note it down in the books little comment section. Expected
Oh, no.
2022.
2022. Yeah,
22.
maybe 2022. Yeah.
Maybe 22. I've given you a leeway, some time there as well. You never know what could happen. Because like, that's the cool thing, because that actually translates so perfectly over to the next question, because I was actually going to ask you, you actually nailed it there, literally, so I was like, is this guy reading my mind? What's going on? So I was going to say, what's been the biggest thing you've learned while working in the industry? Has anything kind of really helped sell your artwork more, or really kind of, like, what's made you improve more because of the industry? Does anything stand out, or like your thought process or
I
anything?
think I mean I sit beside my art lead.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow,
obviously-
right, okay, nice.
Yeah, so Junkfish is relatively small in terms of like indie studios. Like there's 18 people that work there.
Yep.
Some of them work from home, or some of them work, you know, in different parts of the country and stuff like that. And yeah, so, you know, there's 4 artists. There's me, and I sit beside my art lead, who is like 20 years experience in the games industry.
Amazing.
So yeah, very, very experienced guy. And, you know, just sitting with him gives me a lot, because, you know, I'll just call him over, talk about stuff. You know, he'll call me over and we'll talk about stuff, and we'll just talk about things, you know, and
Back and forth.
yeah, back and forth, and, you know, I'm constantly receiving feedback. You know what I mean? I think feedback, being able to take feedback, being able to give feedback. You know, I never felt like I couldn't give feedback to him, even though he's like a lead artist. You know, I feel like I could always give him my opinions and he would respect it, type thing. You know, and it makes you feel good, because on my first day there was a lot of imposter syndrome type thing. You know, which is common I think nowadays.
Of
You
course.
see a lot of stuff on ArtStation, and you're like, well, these people are amazing type thing, you know. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's still a social media platform. You're going to see the best stuff at the top. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And these are people like senior artists and stuff like that. And you're like, and sometimes it does make you feel bad, but you're like, you have to realize that these people are seniors,
Mhm.
and they probably have 15 years experience of modeling, texture, and stuff like that. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
All adds up.
just being able to give feedback and take feedback from people, and I think one of the main things that I learned, more than just like, you know, because I know how to model in texture, and obviously I've got better over time,
Mhm.
but that's just because I'm doing it every day. But honestly, the main thing that I've learned with working is just you have to be a problem solver.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, totally. Yeah. Great. Great answer.
yeah, you could be the best artist in the room,
Mhm.
but if you don't know anything about the engine,
Mhm.
what are you going to do? You know, you can't offer any solutions. You know.
Yeah.
And obviously, you know, Junkfish were using Unity for Monstrum 2,
Mhm.
and I had never even touched Unity. I was a full-on Unreal Engine boy. You know, I
Yeah.
used to write Unity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So switching to Unity was like, I don't know anything. But obviously, you
Where
know,
am I?
exactly, yeah. So I had to learn from scratch. But obviously, you know, sitting beside my art lead and all the other people who have worked in Unity for like 5 years plus,
Mhm.
they're always able to help. So you learn it, you know. So, and what I noticed from them is that they're obviously, you know, they've been working in Unity for so long,
Mhm.
and they know a lot of stuff. But sometimes things come up that they don't know.
Yeah. Of course.
But but they're good problem solvers, so they fix it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So that's the thing I learned really. It's like
That's a great answer, dude.
you can be a hot shit artist, you can be the best artist in the room, but see if you don't know anything about engines or, you know, just general stuff like that, you're screwed.
Yeah, because like that's one of the things. So one thing that's always kind of I've struggled with is so my biggest strength is also like my biggest weakness. So my biggest strength is my work ethic. Like I literally just work all the time. However, the
Yeah.
reason why I have to work all the time is because I'm very slow at learning. So I've always been one of those people that take so long to learn things or absorb things. Because I
Oh
look,
yeah.
it's and
I
that's the one thing that kind of how can I say it, like I know I need to then, like going to your point there, which is so important, is learn to kind of adjust. Obviously, inform people how quick at learning you are, but learn to adjust through problem solving. Think about scenarios. Try and plan things better.
yeah, I agree. Like, for me, like learning like proper source control was never something I was taught. That's like a grey area for me. Well, I'm better at it
Same.
now.
Yeah, of
Like
course.
I'm more like using P4V and Powerforce and stuff, and using Unity. Like whenever I started, I knew nothing.
Mhm.
Like, I felt like a burden,
Yeah.
essentially, you know. But now I'm comfortable with it. I know how to use it. You know, I may not be an amazing problem solver with it because I'm still at that junior level. I don't have that much experience, but
Mhm.
I'm now there where I can actually at least throw in my ideas of how I think stuff
Yeah.
might happen. You know.
That's amazing answer. What a way to finish that part of the podcast. Thanks for saying that because at the end of the day, I think it's so important to people for people to realize that because yes, learning pipelines are great and stuff in regards to like tools etc. Like it's so crucial, but sometimes you need to realize that you're going to be put on the spot. It's at different times. Sometimes you have to do things completely on your own and figure things out. Like the lead might not always be there. You don't know what could happen, but sometimes you have to expect the unexpected. Like prepare for the worst. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely. I think another thing that um, I've never, well, I've always tried my best to do, but honestly, you can be an amazing artist, but see if you have a bad attitude,
Mhm.
you will not get very far.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Like uh, you know, there's obviously that getting into the games industry is sort of like you have to have a portfolio.
Mhm.
You know, you may have to know someone, but I think your personality comes into it a lot as well.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're just an asshole, you probably won't get hired.
Yeah.
You know what I
Definitely.
mean? I think a lot of times, you know, companies might say, "Well, this guy's a great artist, but personality-wise, he's not the greatest." So,
Mhm.
you know, what's this person who doesn't have a lot of experience, but they're definitely a personality fit for the company,
Yeah.
and they work well with other people, and they can give feedback and take feedback. So I think a lot of times, work on your art if you want. Yeah, that's great. That'll get you somewhere. But really, sometimes you got to reflect on who you are as a person.
Yeah.
You know what I
Definitely.
mean?
No, dude, you're completely right, and it's another amazing point to bring up because like when you like for example, you can be the most confident person in the world, and then once you get thrown into a certain situation, you might completely flip. You don't know. Like things happen.
Yeah.
Like there's been experiences in my journey. Like I've worked at lots of different places, lots of great moments, lots of difficult moments, and things occur outside of life that go on, and those affect the way you work, and it's down to being honest with yourself and being open to, like, say if you're going through a difficult time, tell them about it, because you don't know, like people aren't going to know what's going on, or like if they expect a certain reaction. Like for example, if they originally think you're a very positive person or whatever, they might then see a different side to you, and they might be wondering why is he not performing as best as he can. You never know, you know what I mean? Like there's so many different scenarios that you learn, and the best way I always like to say it is, like you said, be humble, be kind, learn, adapt, but most importantly, if you've got something going on, be honest, be direct, learn and grow from it, and just keep working at it, because at the end of the day, Gerard has done so many great things, and he's learned each. You can just tell every time he's worked along his journey, he's learned from his mistakes, he's learned to adapt, he's adapted to change from quick, as obvious it may sound, but big changes, like for example changing your full pipeline is a big change. Like it's a big thing to adapt to. Like you're just having to start from scratch again, and sometimes you have a time limit as well, so it's like you have to answer yourself, like if you're a slow learner like me, I have to then figure out, right, how am I going to work efficient, what could I do to maximize my growth, and like, how can I kind of cheat it in a way to be smart, you know, like you have to think all these different things.
Yeah, big time. And that's the thing about well, two things really. Like you're saying about switching your pipeline. I was like a proper 3ds Max user for years.
Yeah. And
then I switched over to Maya because of uni. So I sort of set myself back another few years just because I wanted to switch to Maya.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, I use Maya now, and I do think, well, I can't speak for obviously every company, you know what I mean, but I would say maybe most of the places I'd applied for were all Maya, so
right.
that's why I was like I need to apply. You need to learn Maya, type thing, and same with Substance Painter as well. And my next point is that you were saying about, you know, making sure to tell people that you're all right if you're not. Say like that's one of the amazing things about Junkfish is that everyone's so nice. Yeah, it's like it's weird amazing, how
dude.
nice.
That's so good.
It's so rare as well. It's just like everyone's super nice. Everyone gets along really well. You know, if there's ever issues, you can speak to my lead or, you know, my producer or something, and the you know, stuff gets sorted, sort of thing. You know, so it was I got really lucky.
Yeah.
To start in a place like that where everyone cares for each other, type thing. You know, because it's such a small studio.
Dude, you deserve it though. That's at the day.
I appreciate that.
Like man, you deserve it. Like at the day, you've put the work in, you've put the time in, and you've just kept going. Like that's why at the day, like that's what I think is amazing, and that's why it's awesome having you on. So thanks for coming on, dude. And now it is time. Here we go, boys and girls. Are you ready? Because it wasn't just environment art that I wanted Gerard to come on for. You know that. You know the rules of the podcast. And there's one thing that Gerard is a legend for. It is his one and only amazing comic history, just brains, you name it, just legendary status. The guy is the coolest.
You're bigging me up.
Dude, you've got to. It's all about gassing up, man. Get things rolling. It's all about just constant energy. This dude has the coolest Batman tattoo of all time. Okay. So
you gotta put a picture of it in.
Dude, I will now, man. I've got to. Right, 500 seconds. Well, it's not. So the phrase as it is going, it's 500. Well, it's called 500 seconds, but it's not because I can't think of a name yet. So we're calling it question time. Let's do this, okay?
Okay.
So I'm gonna start off with the most difficult question in history for you, probably. Actually, it might be easy. Favorite Batman movie?
Oh, can it be animated?
I'll be nice. Yes.
Okay, Dark Knight Returns.
Okay,
but
awesome.
If I had to pick a live action one, Batman vs Superman.
Okay, awesome. So why would it be Batman versus Superman? Is there a reason?
Because it's based off Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah, perfectly true.
which is based on my favorite comic book story, which is where I got my tattoo from.
And
so
it all makes sense.
It together. Yeah.
Awesome. No, that's the thing, dude. I've got because I was talking to Gerard on Facebook, and he was like, "You better get those Batman questions." I was like, "Oh, don't you worry, bro. I got you prepared, man." I've got like the most questions ever for you on this one. This section.
God.
It's literally all comics. It's on like DC, Marvel, you name it. It's brilliant. I love it. Right. However, the next one isn't. So this one will be interesting. So this is I think there's like 2 questions that are a wee bit different. Favorite cartoon as a kid.
Ooh.
What did you grow up that you were just like that was my thing?
If it wasn't Dragon Ball Z,
Oh, nice choice. Yeah.
or it's probably Samurai Jack.
Wait, I've never heard of this. Tell me about this.
Oh man, Samurai Jack was a cartoon guy, a guy called Gendy Tarkovsky or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Did stuff for Cartoon Network.
Right. How have I not heard of this? I must have seen it. I don't know.
You probably would have seen it. Samurai Jack. It's called. Pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
It was on for years when I was a kid. It only it didn't finish whenever I was a kid.
Right.
But Adult Swim bought the rights to it, I think, and they made one last series to finish off the story. It was like 2 years ago, I think it was.
Right.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was very, very nice art style.
Samurai Jack.
Yeah, Samurai Jack. Yeah.
That is my goal tonight, folks. I'm checking this out because I've never heard of it.
It's actually funny enough now that this whole quarantine thing's going on. Adult Swim actually released all of it for free online, so you can watch it if you want. On
Even
Adult.
better. I'm sorted. Right. This is another. Well, I don't know what you're gonna say for this. I'm quite curious. I've got one game in my head, but I'm not gonna say it. Favorite game.
If I had to pick my favorite game of all time, that like has it impacted me that much, it would probably be World of Warcraft.
Oh,
Because
right. Okay.
that's the game that made me think I want to work in games.
Mm-hmm.
I'm quickly looking through my Steam list here.
For some reason, I had Arkham. Like I was just like.
Oh, okay, yeah. Arkham games are definitely up there. But if you put a gun to my head and probably pick your favorite game of all time, I would probably say World of Warcraft.
Perfect.
Or Devil May Cry.
Oh, dude, you're gonna hate me. I've never played it.
It's so good, man.
I'm so sorry. I need to catch up on. There's so many games that every guest is saying. I'm like, I've not played that. I've not played that. I need to catch up with this. What's going on? It's like, gee whiz, there's so many games. Right now, here has got to be right. This I'm going to be selfish with this question. I'm just going to throw you in like the darkest section. Here we go. So,
Okay.
Favorite Marvel character or DC character, and you can't say Batman.
Favorite Marvel character would be the Punisher.
Oh, right. Okay. Why would it be the Punisher?
There's a lot of stories I've read, like a lot of comic issues I've read from. I just thought he's just a badass. He's essentially just Batman, but he's that sort of mercenary type thing. He just doesn't care. He's just pretty badass. You know what I mean? I think watching the Marvel TV shows really put me on to him.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I sort of got more into reading comic books, I read there was a Punisher runs like 70 odd issues called Punisher Max.
Yep.
And it's just full frontal assault of this Punisher killing people, and it's so cool.
Dude, have you heard this scene, right? This is crazy. So there's a scene where I thought was just mad. So there's a scene in Punisher in the comics that he literally has his like own kind of like, it's like a machine that just hurts him. And it's like a baseball bat, so he's getting attacked by a baseball bat. He's like training his body to get hurt, to get beat. So he's literally just going absorb the pain, and then it's like he's going into the street, and these guys are hurting him, and he just stands there and he just laughs.
Yeah, Punisher's a badass. If I had to pick a second one, it would probably be Daredevil, because I like the sort of street level heroes like the Punisher and Daredevil. They're about New York, and it's like crime gangs and stuff like that. I think that's the sort of best stuff.
Okay, nice, good answers. I like it. This is brilliant.
If I had to pick a DC one that wasn't Batman, I would probably say, it's a tough one. I really like Green Lantern.
Oh, nice. Okay, interesting.
Or Rorschach from Watchmen.
Wait, I've not heard of it. How have I not heard of this? What's his name?
Rorschach from.
Okay.
Have you watched Watchmen?
I've not watched that yet. I'm gonna have to do that now. Oh my gosh.
Watchmen is one of the greatest comic books ever made.
Right, I'm falling behind.
Yeah, it came out in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Written by Alan Moore, the guy who wrote V for Vendetta.
Oh, right, okay. I haven't seen that.
Like
oh my gosh, I've not heard that in ages.
Yeah, Watchmen's amazing. Really, really good.
Great choice.
So it was him or Green Lantern, I'd say.
Perfect answers. Great answers. Favorite film?
Favorite film? Probably Lord of the Rings.
Dude, you're raising the bar quite high here today. Like
Only the best stuff, man.
Yeah,
Only the
dude.
best.
Like you know me, like Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, and Marvel. It's like that's all I need. Like I'm sorry.
If I had to pick a specific Lord of the Rings film, it would probably be Return of the King.
Ooh, okay.
But it's a tough one. But it's like, they're like, if you put your hands, it's like Return of the King and The Two Towers are so close.
Yeah.
Because they both got so much cool stuff in it. But I think Return of the King is just that epic finale. And it's so cool.
Like so much going on. Well, that's the thing. So like, for me, I think the Helm's Deep's fight is the most epic fight of all time.
Mm-hmm.
I think
even better than Pelennor Fields.
I think so.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Like, dude, like, right, like, and I think the first film, the start of it, like I've always been a first film lover. Like Harry Potter 1 is my favorite film of all time. And
it gives me Christmas vibes. I don't know why.
it does. I can't agree with you anymore. Like it's so true. Like it's that warm kind of aesthetic that it has, and it's so uplifting. Like and like, another film that does it really well. This is such a contrast, but the one film I feel everyone watches to feel good is just Rocky. Like if you watch Rocky, you just feel good. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I mean it's the ultimate underdog story, isn't it?
Of course. It's literally just the film to watch.
It is if you're feeling inspired or you want to be inspired.
Right. Next one. Favorite Batman moment.
It has to be the scene from my tattoo.
Oh right.
From
Okay.
Dark Knight Returns. So in that story, Batman fought the mutant leader before, but he got beat because obviously Batman is in his 50s at this time, and he gets beat by this younger dude. He's massive and he just doesn't feel pain essentially, and pretty much breaks Batman's back. Similar to Bane, he just beats the crap out of him.
Just destroys him.
Yeah, so Batman comes back. He puts on like the like a muscle suit essentially, and like its armored frame, and then fights him in the mud because they're both slower. But Batman's a better fighter than him.
Yeah.
So he uses his it's that sort of for me it's the sort of like brains over brawn type thing, and it was sort of like it was sort of the meaning of my tattoo is like the power to overcome things.
Of course.
So I think that's one of the things I really liked about it is that obviously he's just old man at this point, but it doesn't matter because he thinks better than the other person, so that's why he's able to beat him.
It's just the wise. You just think your head just absolutely just being.
Yeah.
Wait.
And
that's so cool.
Possibly the greatest comic book quote of all time.
Oh, what is it?
When he beats the guy, he says, when he's about to beat him, he says, "You don't get it, punk." Or sorry, "You don't get it, kid. This isn't a mud hole. It's an operating theater, and I'm the surgeon."
Oh.
Stop. And he breaks his arms, and I was like, that is the most. I was like, okay, well, I guess I love Batman now.
Yeah, that's where it clicked.
Yeah, I was like, this is so badass.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, this is getting better. I love it. Right, okay. So, this one's an interesting one. I have no idea what you're gonna choose. Would you rather join X-Men, Guardians of the Galaxy, or Fantastic Four? I know my answer, but I have no idea what you're saying.
I would probably pick X-Men.
Yes, great answer. Right, good. Because I don't know. Like, I think Guardians of the Galaxy are sick, but like I think Fantastic Four is great, but I just think they're not portrayed so well in the movies. I think I like the movies, but I don't think they're as good as the other films. You know what I mean?
There's a lot more characters in X-Men, so you can run into a lot more people.
Oh, like X-Men. Oh, dude, I've got a big question about X-Men. Well, just characters in general in one of the next questions. Okay. But the next one is though favorite villain.
Favorite villain? That's a good question, actually.
Because
is it from comics or does it have to be from comics? Yeah.
Well, what would be more fun? Do you want me to just say comics, or say anything?
I'll say comics. I'll say comics. Oh, that is a tough one.
Because this is the first time, dude, that I've thought of this question. I don't know why. Of all the Marvel questions I've asked on this podcast, I've never said villain. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I know I know the villain who I hate the most, or not hate, but there's one villain who I can't stand just because he's portrayed so well in the movies, and that's Ego.
Ah, right, okay.
He drives me through the roof. I'm just like, this guy. Oh no.
I can't think of anything at the minute, but if I had to pick one from the top of my head, it's another character from Watchmen.
Okay.
It's a character called Ozymandias.
Right.
And I don't want to spoil it for you because
okay. Never mind.
He's a pretty badass character just because of his he's one of those bad guys where you essentially agree with what he's doing.
Oh
that's
gosh,
why.
that's an interesting twist. Oh god, right,
Yeah.
okay. I'll have to watch it, right, dude. Literally, I'm gonna have to write that down, and I'll get back to you once I've actually watched it. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. This next question, I'm gonna put a spoiler alert before I ask this question, just so everyone knows. How, because I just want to find out what your answer is, because I've got my answer, because I've got so much discussions about this. I have all the characters in comics, or just whatever comic it may be, whether it's in DC, Marvel, you name it, whatever universe. I have all the ones that died. Which one would you want to resurrect?
That's pretty tough because sometimes comic characters don't stay dead.
Yeah,
You know,
they can come back at any time. There's one guy. Do you want me to tell you my answer first?
Yeah.
Darwin.
Darwin? What's that from?
So Darwin was in like the. So basically, Darwin is technically the most powerfulest character in the world, right? And
Okay.
basically, he has like the power of a. Try and quote this correctly. So I was telling you about the series Fat Fiend, right? So I highly recommend it to anyone who loves Marvel and stuff. And I came across his character for the first time ever, and I realized I think he was in one of the X-Men movies. So basically, he has the power to basically react to any scenario in the world, so he can't die. So basically, any scenario that takes place, say there's a nuclear bomb, his body will form to the best reaction, so he can't get hit from it. If he freezes, his body will then turn into heat, and then
Wow.
so he's that OP. He was literally the only person in the universe who can't die, and they decided to give him the most puny or easy way to die on screen. I was so gutted when I came across this. Like, it was like they made the most powerful guy, and basically, this guy could personally, he could destroy Thanos, right?
Yeah.
Like easily, he could just be like even if Thanos had his gauntlet, like I know that they say he's the most ultimate person in the universe, but this guy could then react to Thanos' gauntlet, like he's that OP. So
Yeah.
it's just like when I came, oh dude, if you look into him, I think you'd love him. Like you'd love him as a character, because he might not be dead. It might just be because, like you said, it's the comics.
Yeah. I guess just from stuff I've been reading recently. Again, it's a character from Watchmen called Dr. Manhattan. I don't want to spoil it for you, but he is sort of technically dead.
Okay.
But he's pretty cool in what he can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that's who I'd pick because I can't think of anyone because comics don't care about if people are dead. They just bring them back.
Yeah, they always. I never thought. I should have thought that more. So I've got two more questions. Two more questions. Favorite Batman actor?
Oh, it has to be Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Why would it be Ben Affleck?
Because he's a similar build to Batman in Dark Knight Returns. 'Cause he's quite tall.
Yeah.
He's like, Ben Affleck's like 6'2", I think.
Okay.
And he also got pretty beefy for it. He's a pretty big guy as well. So it's a similar stature to the Batman that I like. So that's why I like him the most.
It's literally just I'm realizing I tried to.
Yeah.
There's a common trend, and it completely makes sense. Because I actually thought, do you know? I'm so bad at names, but is it Val Kilmer?
Yeah, Val Kilmer Batman. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he was the first ever Batman I came across because of is it Tommy Lee Jones and Jim Carrey?
Yeah, that's the one that people don't like.
I like that just because it was the first time I ever came across Batman. Like everyone always hated it, but literally, do you know that one film? There's like 7 or 8 famous legends in that one film.
Oh yeah, the film's packed with people.
It's like literally so good. Right, the last question I ask every single podcast. If you can have any animal as a pet in the animal kingdom or fantasy world, roughly like the size of a laptop, what would you choose and why?
Oh shit.
The pressure's on.
Can it be from any fantasy thing?
Any fantasy. So we've had Pokemon, we've had Harry Potter characters, we've had just normal Animal Kingdom animals, we've had dragons.
Yeah. Oh, that's tough.
It's almost like a question you get in an interview. It's like,
I know.
what would you choose? Describe yourself, please. You see, this is my tactic. This is why I do this part of the podcast. See, you guys now understand this. You see?
I know. You've perplexed me. I guess I'd probably say. Shit. I'm gonna keep it real. I would actually like a wee fox.
Oh, great. Okay, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a fox would be pretty cool because they're very dog-like, and I love dogs. So
You can't go around dogs and fox. Every time I think of the fox, I just think of Fox and the Hound.
oh no, don't think that. That's
I'm
sad.
sorry, but that's all I think of it.
Oh no.
It's just positivity, okay? Positivity. You got to think of positivity. The dog is so awesome. You got to love the dog. And then
Yes.
when it comes to dogs, Homeward Bound. Who doesn't love Homeward Bound?
Yes, good film. Good
Right,
film.
Jared. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show, man. Thank
Thanks
you
for
so
having me,
much.
man. It was good fun. Good to talk.
Everyone who's tuning in, make sure to check out his work. As have you been listening to the podcast, make sure to give him a follow. You'll see all the slideshow on the background. If you guys are tuning on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe, smash the like button as always, and turn on notifications to be notified every single week when the podcast is live. And with that said, folks, we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.